like to call tonight's regular meeting of the El Salto School District Board of Trustees to order. Okay. Sorry, I was not ready. All right, a recording and or broadcast of this meeting is being made at the direction of the board, which may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. I will now call the roll. Brian?
Present.
Vladimir?
Present.
Jim?
Present.
Stella? Here. And I, Shelley Sirke, am also here. Pledge of Allegiance, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. All right. Would any board members like to provide comment on the agenda? Okay. May I please have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Vladimir. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you, Stella. All right. Motion to approve tonight's agenda as presented was made by Vladimir and seconded by Stella. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Closed session report, no action was taken in closed session. Superintendent's update.
Yes, a few things. I'll start very briefly just by saying we had an excellent opening to school, but we have a presentation tonight, which I will expound a little in more detail at that time, but a really terrific start to the school year. I did want to follow up on some of the comments from our last meeting around immigration and supporting our families. So just wanted to follow up to let you know that we did check in with secretaries and office clerks. We resent out our training and kind of what we call our one pager of what do we do should ICE or immigration folks come onto school requesting to either get information or speak with a student. We updated and made sure that all of our resources on our new website are up to date and the latest and greatest. So we went through all of those and then emailed families. And I think you all got a copy of that email, but emailed our families to remind them that our schools are a safe place and that they have lots of resources if they need support. So just wanted to share that with you. Last week I was able, challenge team is back up and running. So it was the first meeting last Thursday of the year. Challenge team, for those who have not been, is a very wide eclectic group of people from the city of Mountain View, the city of Los Altos, and some little surrounding neighbors, Stanford. Everybody's concerned about youth within the community. So it's an excellent group. We meet at the Mountain View Police Department once a month or very early in the morning.
They do serve breakfast.
Yes, they do serve breakfast, although breakfast was late this round. There was no coffee for quite some time. But we were very happy it finally showed up, but it was great. And they always do a back to school challenge team. So I had a chance just to introduce our principals showed up. So being able to introduce our principals, our new principal, Lisa Tarmina. And then talked a little bit about, you know, our LASD student experience and what we want as outcomes for kids, the type of experience we want in our classrooms, and just to thank everybody because it's always just such a cool group that comes together, and Gay Cross has been doing that forever, and it's really exceptional. What else? I was able, that was the 7:30 a.m. and at 7 p.m. I had a back to school update for the LAF board. So it was nice to welcome back their new board. They only have, I think Heather had said, 2 new board members, which is great for them. And we're always so appreciative of the support of the LAF board and the work they do to help us provide that type of experience we want for students. This week we have back to school nights. A few of you let me know that you would be able to come. So this Thursday we have all of our elementary schools except for Oak Avenue. So Brian, did you see my email?
Yeah.
If you want to head out to Santa Rita, and we've got folks coming. So if you're able to go Thursday night, please let me know and I will assign you a school. Then next week, Tuesday, we have Oak. Stella's gonna be able to go. I will be at Oak. And then next Wednesday night, we have the 2 junior highs. So thank you again, Brian, for doing Egan, and Carrie Bosco is gonna head to Egan, and Eric's going to head to Block, or vice versa. I can't remember where you guys landed, something like that. But if you're able to get out, it's always a really fun night to just be visible to our families and show your support for our teachers and staff and principals. And lastly, we are starting our school visit, so just be on the lookout in my weekly updates. I'll give you kind of times and days that we're available. So this Friday morning, Stella, Brian, and I are going to go to Gardner Polis to visit. Walk through some classrooms, take a look at the campus. It will be great. That is me update.
Thank you. Lots going on. Okay, we are going to move on to the consent calendar. Would any board members like to provide comment on tonight's consent calendars? Okay, then may I please have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Brennan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Stella. Motion to approve tonight's consent calendar as presented was made by Vladimir and seconded by Stella. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. On to Los Altos, employee request to address the board. We will start with Los Altos Teachers Association. Allison White. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we have had a great back to school time. And I want to start by talking about kind of you're seeing what's going on in classrooms, or you will be soon. But I want to tie that back into something that is so key at this time of the year, especially when we're heading toward deeper learning experiences. Deeper learning experiences can happen when we have amazing classroom communities that are built on academic, intellectual trust, emotional trust, being able to really take risks in learning. And so right now in classrooms all over, teachers are working to build classroom communities that foster emotional, academic, and physical safety, because students need to feel safe and trust their teachers and peers as an optimum condition for learning. Managing students and behaviors has become more challenging in recent years for many reasons, and that's the topic of student behavior surfaced as a high priority at last year's teacher advisory group. And teachers and administrators will need to continue that work in order to make sure conditions for all students to learn and teachers to teach in a way that prioritizes the well-being of both. Additionally, the executive board is looking forward to the training next week with management and board members, the IBB training that we'll all be at next week. So we're excited to work with you and further that collaboration to build trust and transparency in our interactions. And then finally, a big piece of the work this year for the union is the Prop 55 extension, the initiative that is coming. And I was at a CTA conference recently, and that is a significant focus of the communication, is getting that initiative to ensure that funding, which I think, and Eric has better details, but it's around, I think, 950,000, I believe, is what we talked about last year, but you'll get more details. But we are organizing so that we can do our part to ensure that initiative gets on the ballot for next November. So thank you.
I just have a quick comment. Sorry. I have more to say about this later in our board comments, but I was telling Sandra earlier today that I've noticed that like staff and students are just more prepared and more excited to be at school this year than I think they have been and it's just great to see on campus with teachers and students.
That's great.
Thank you for.
Thank you. I will pass that on. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. For the California School Employee Association, Kim Fletcher.
Oh,
Hello.
here to talk to you about our amazing office clerks. These I wanted to highlight because a lot of families actually don't know our clerks very well because they work in the middle of the school day. So a lot of kids do, and they come home and tell their parents, "Oh, Miss So and So help me," and parents go, I don't know who that is. I've never met them because they're not there at the beginning of the school year, but they're so worth highlighting because they're who buys all of our stuff. And so none of the things in the office, none of the other supplies, all of the POs are all done through our office clerks. And they do such a big lift quietly in the background, sending things back and forth in the business office, calling Eric 1,000 times, calling Elizabeth 1,000 times, making sure everything's ready to go, while being interrupted with a million other things in the office, because they're also the people who don't know all the things. They're not our secretaries, were there all day, and yet they are still jumping in constantly with we always joke that at the beginning of the first day of school year, we always have something in the office that's very silly that we have to do. I mean, we've seen having to try to fix a piece of a brace to get them through until the end of the school day because there was no opening. We just need this kid not to be bleeding. We've had to make belts. We've had to make shoelaces before because it's their first day of school and we're going to get this kid through the school day. And so, there's a lot of things that come up and you never know what it's going to be. And our office clerks just do an amazing job of just rolling with it, jumping in, and just really being kind of a quiet backbone that a lot of our families don't know, but are really worth getting to know because they're just doing such great work. So we appreciate them very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling our attention to our office clerks. I will say we have amazing teachers and staff who work at LASD. And I'm very grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. Right. To provide public comment to provide public comment on an agenda item, speaker cards are to be submitted to the superintendent. Speaker cards will not be accepted once public comment begins. Your name will be announced when it is your turn to speak. This time now is reserved for members of the public and employees to address the board on items that are not on the agenda. The board is not permitted to discuss or take action on non-agenda items, except to instruct the superintendent to review the matter further, report back to the board at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. The board may make a brief comment or ask clarifying questions. And it looks like we have one person for public comment tonight, Pat Broadkeith. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you, appreciate it. So yes, I am Pat Broadkey. I am a community volunteer. And I help our Latino families with tutoring and support. This summer I helped 6 students. 4 of them I helped 4 times a week all summer. They all made significant progress. While there's many lessons learned from this, I want to focus for a minute on the parents. But first of all, a quick context. Who are these families? They are classified as socioeconomically disadvantaged. They are in this category not because of poverty, but because they were not given access to high school and in many cases, middle school education in their countries of origin, just not very accessible. Second, only 36% of their children are performing at or above grade level within LASD. And even more surprisingly, by middle school, only 20% are at grade level for math. So the LASD performance with these students is about the same as the entire state of California. Yeah, we need to do much better. So I'm convinced the only way we can really be successful in helping these kids get to grade level is to establish a partnership with their parents. They need our help. The parents feel invisible. They are intimidated. They encounter continuing challenges in working with our staff. It's not easy. So I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Bosco today, which I really appreciated, and I learned what she's been working on, as well as additional ideas she has for future implementation to help these families. And what I'd like to ask is that we support her in this important work. We need to prioritize the goal that nearly every student achieve at grade level. And this goal is very distant today. So we need to innovate and not rest until we succeed. So thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not disputing at all that we need to do better for our Latino students. But of the 36%, how many of them are not performing at grade level because of language difficulties?
What I can tell you,
I'd like to take that group
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
36%.
yeah, Brian might have some data, but here's what I do know, right, that I'm not a district employee, but that data is across K-8. And while I mean, I have my data from working with this community for the last 6 years. I am called upon to help some kids who are recent immigrants. And I'm called upon to help them because I'm one of the few volunteer tutors who can bumble her way through Spanish. Almost every other child I've worked with has been in LASD since kindergarten. So that's not a statistical sample, and they all speak everyday English, very early in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Your feeling then is it's a small number.
that is my impression.
Okay.
That is my impression, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Moving on to action and discussion items. Our first item is the opening of the 2025-26 school year. Superintendent McGonigal.
Yes, so this is going to be a collaborative slide deck. I'll start and click and then hand it over when the time comes. So we wanted to share a little bit about the start of the school year. I will tell you, well, you can see there what we're going to cover. But I will tell you the day before school started, the day school started, I made it to all 9 schools and probably 95% of our classrooms. Some teachers were on prep or kids might have been in an assembly, so I didn't quite get into everywhere, but there was such a fabulous feel on our campuses, to echo what Jim was saying, just such a great feel. I saw teachers who just care about kids and want to make sure that kids feel welcomed and successful in school. Parents seemed happy, thrilled with it. So great. So a little enrollment update for you. When I pulled this number last Wednesday or what have you, 3367 on the 13th, it was the exact same number of the same date 1 year prior. It was a little crazy because, I send you guys little enrollment updates and I keep those numbers. It was the exact to the student. That number has dropped a little bit since school actually began. So as always, we have lots of in and outs over the first week and a half of school. I'm hoping when we hit seabeds that we'll be flat. That's the goal, for sure. And of course, our TK and kinder combined help us offset those larger 8th grade classes that graduate out right now. But our kinder class is a little bit lower than what we've seen in the past by about 25 students. So we didn't quite get the kinder numbers, but we have strong TK numbers. So as you can see up there, our TK numbers, we've increased by 2 classes each year. And I will tell, as Lupe knows, and maybe our secretaries know, our TK classes are full. We are at 19, 20, and 2 of our classes we're actually at, I think, 22 and 23. And anytime we go over 20 students, it's allowable by the state to go no higher than 24. But once you hit 21, we need a 3rd adult in the room. So we have 2 of our classes that have an extra assistant in for the full day TK program. So we have 10 classes, they're thriving. They are the most exciting, as I check in on the first day of school. We did not have a whole lot of tears, which is terrific, really terrific, because
Moms
this actually, it is both. And sometimes the principals and the teachers work together to shoo the parents out because it's not helping. But it was really sweet and they're excited and they do silly things. They we had one little one who had just flown in. I think this was over at Almond. He had just flown in from Japan the night before.
Oh.
He was fast asleep on the floor by 9:15 in the morning. I mean, it hadn't even been 30 minutes. So tired, called parents come get him, let's try again tomorrow, right? So just, we meet them where they are. I had the fun of spending a little bit of time in Allison's room and her kids were singing songs already on day 2. And we're so happy to be discovering all the really fun things that she has in her classroom. So our kids are doing great, especially our little TK ones. And just put in, that's just a screenshot from, our website, but we are still enrolling every day, even though school just started. Every day, Lupe is getting a handful of new enrollments, people who have just moved in and, missed the first days. And so want to thank Lupe, our registrar, want to thank our nurses and the health team, because it takes a lot of people and our office secretaries and principals and then teachers ultimately, but it takes a lot of people to get one student enrolled, approved, immunization checked, placed into a class, make sure it's the right class, and then communicated with families and go. So it takes a lot of effort, and it's been a big turnaround this year. I think we've had more ins and outs than we typically have. So our Lupe processed a whole lot of ins and outs this summer, which is exciting. I'm gonna hand it off to Dr. B.
So this summer, we've been busy in the HR department with hiring, and I'm proud to report that this class of hiring is fantastic.
So good.
Just one of the best. We've got folks, it's their first day teaching, all the way up to very experienced teachers and classified positions. So you can see we hired 23 in the certificated group, so that's our teacher group, as well as 25 in classified positions. I think today we might have shored up our last two openings in classified, which is our food assistant over at Gardner and services coordinator part-time position. And then this year we have 7 resident teachers. So those are teachers who are aspiring to be credentialed teachers who are with mentors here in the district. So you'll see 2 of them pop by their classroom. So in total, 55, and Eric wanted me to put this little note on there with the asterisk about all necessary positions are within the allocated. These are right size our staff. So really look at each and every
Position.
Thank you for that, Pastor. Yeah, it's been a very busy summer for the team. This is the Gardner Bullis parking lot, and you can see that's what it looks like when it was dirt, and that's all the base rock. When we were bidding this project out last winter, we talked about there just wasn't a lot of interest in the bidders, and then the bids, the 2 bids we got were over the bid limit. We had to rebid the project, so we decided, hey, the whole parking lot is actually in pretty bad condition, so we redid the entire parking lot. They finished it actually before school started, and then this weekend they had to come out and do some extra striping. The new crosswalk was installed this over the weekend. The contractor did a nice job. It was very clean. The site is completed. I think Kim said the parents are very happy. So if we can just make sure they go down the right lane, we'll be okay. But I think it turned out to be a nice project. We're gonna have the inspector come out this week and do the inspection. And then once the DSA signs off, then we have to get the vendor to come back out and deal with the lunch canopy that needs to be installed. But we're hoping that we'll get DSA approval, get the project signed off, and then we can kind of move to the next one. But I want to thank really the team, because there was a lot of work that had to happen, and we just felt the contractor did a nice job. They listened to us. Lino and Lewis, our groundskeepers, they actually met them out there, and there were a couple of the planters that did not have irrigation to it. So we actually, the contractor, they ran pipe under the asphalt, and now we can get irrigation to those planters. So it was great that we kind of partnered with our own staff and said, hey, since they're out there and the parking lot torn up, can you do that? So thanks to our team. Next slide. This is over at Almond. It was kind of interesting that it's hard to tell in the photos, but there was 2 portables at the end, and we did an audible. And remember, Peyton Manning's very famous for saying Omaha, and they did an audible. Well, Raquel was working on getting her 6th grade teachers, and she kind of did a last minute, can you change and move this different portable? We said, yeah, we can do that. So we worked with the contractors, we moved the portables, and then we moved a different portable, and then she put her 6th grade team out in the new area out there. And you can kind of see on the photos, that's the new 6th grade hangout area.
That's brilliant.
And they were over by the multi-purpose room. And now the 6th graders have their own little area. The 2 new 6th grade teachers at Almond are right next to each other in that area. So it's a nice little setup. Very good thinking by our principal over there at Almond. And so this project is closed out. Some of the things on your PO report and warrant report are some of those purchase orders for those vendors. And this project is closed out and completed. The contractors did a nice job. I think we have to reinstall like a little speaker bell thing, but most of the work is pretty much done. And the next item, I do love show and tell, and I love bringing the pine cone at the last meeting. But you can see that one of the pines that we talked about is the Coulter pine on the left. That was in front of Block. That tree was removed. And then we did some other work at Block. We did some more trees at Oak. We're very mindful of trees around kids, and we think trees are wonderful, but it has to be the right tree, the right location, and they have to be maintained. So we're really working hard. We have an arborist. He went around and did a risk assessment of all the trees. And over at Oak, did Allison, but at Oak, they expressed, hey, we were worried about some of these redwood trees, and so we had some work done on those. So continuous improvements, and I want to acknowledge CSEA and Kim being here. Our schools open up on time. All the custodial staff, the maintenance and operations staff, the groundskeepers really worked hard over this summer. We even hired some food services staff, so they're off during the summer, so we gave them some extra work. And we had a teacher, who's a teacher over at Santa Rita. He actually worked all summer. And one of our custodians here at Covington said, I can't keep up with them. So, but it was great for our teacher who was off for the summer. He learned how to do waxing floors. And we had one of our teachers. So it's really a nice team effort. But I do want to acknowledge all the CSE staff, like Kim mentioned. A lot of people are on vacation, and the custodial and M&O team are really working year round to get our schools ready. And, you know, we have a short turnaround, and they got the schools ready. So we're really thankful for our staff.
We're happy to answer any questions you might have about the start of the school year.
Okay. Are there any clarifying questions from the board in the presentation? Yes. Are there any requests for public comment? Seeing none, public comment is closed. The board discussion, would any board members like to provide further, any comment on this agenda item? I don't see any. I think your asterisks actually answered our question for me. Could have a chance to answer. So thank you very much. It's a really exciting start to the school year. I'm
Great.
super excited about our new website.
Yeah.
I hope all
Oh,
our
yeah, I
parents check
forgot
it
to
out.
put that in, yes.
All of our parents should check it out. Okay. All right, oh, next one, professional development update. Oh,
Yes, so we're really excited to come with the annual update about our professional development. Greg and Sarah are both here to present and talk about our professional development that occurred this summer as well as for the year. Welcome, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. We want every student to leave our schools with a sense that if they want to do something and act with intention, they can do that they can create the story for their lives that they. And we know that in order to empower kids in that way, we need to empower teachers to empower kids. And our preparations for this summer's professional development started in the spring. We started talking about what are the needs, and we started to coordinate all of the things that were going to happen and planning for the different events. And it's been such a fun experience to see teachers that are showing up of their own accord to get the great professional development that they get in our sessions. And for the excitement around making changes in classrooms that are benefiting kids every day. When we think about professional development, we have kind of these 4 different purposes for different events. One of them is about developing our shared vision. When we have a shared sense of what classrooms should look like and feel like, we're more likely to get there. And so developing a shared vision for teaching and learning is one of the big goals of professional development. A little bit different than that is sometimes teachers just need training about a particular thing. And so we provide training, which is a little different than developing a vision. It's like, how do you use this particular tool? We also, another goal in our professional development is to take things that are really working well for kids and teachers and spread them. So scaling those practices. And another purpose is just to offer individualized support. And all of those things have happened this summer and will continue to happen as we move through the year. This calendar just shows what happened in the weeks leading up to school. We launched our professional development with our leadership team, brought them all together for a day at the community center and really dove into our continued shared vision for what classrooms look like and how our instructional leadership really supports teachers to do that for kids. We then moved into 2 days of new teacher orientation, where we brought all of our new certificated employees. They learned all about deeper learning and the LASD student experience and learned about our expectations for them in our classrooms. They also got some breakout individualized, depending on their position, training and support that they needed to get launched in their roles. An exciting thing that happened on August 4th this year was the launch of our new practitioner cohort. This is a group of teachers who have opted into some intensive coaching and ongoing learning to bring deeper learning practices into their classroom and become the front runners in our district for doing this work with kids. Sarah's leading that group, and we have 19 teachers enrolled in that, and we're really excited about the possibilities there. Then there were 3 days, and I'm not going to talk too much about this because Sarah's going to, review the whole thing for us. But we had 3 days of deeper learning training for teachers, broken up by grade level bands. So K2 had a day, and 3, 6, and 7, 8 had a day. We also did some co-teaching training. I'm just looking up there. We had training for our reading screener Dibbles, and then you may remember from last year, we are doing a math pilot this year in anticipation of adopting a K-5 math curriculum. And so our teachers who are participating in that pilot also got training in the first curriculum that they're piloting this year. Did I miss anything on the list? I'm going to turn over to Sarah now. She's going to go into some detail about the deeper learning training that happened those first few days.
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky that I got to, this is gonna sound like a lot, but I got to facilitate 7 consecutive days of professional learning at LASD, and I'm smiling saying that because we work with the best people and all different audiences, from our leadership team to our brand new people trying to make sense of their new context, to extremely seasoned, experienced teachers who are saying yes to furthering their practice as our practitioners, to the incredible work of collaborating around deeper learning and the brilliance that's in the room when we do that. It's truly the best work to do this. I am gonna zoom in on August 5th, 6th, and 7th, which was our hopeful launch for deeper learning this year. So I want to bring this forward for everyone. All of these are visuals or models, you could say, for deeper learning that we've shown or looked at or explored at some point together over the last year. On the left, we have what I would consider the what behind deeper learning. Those are the principles for deeper learning that tell us things like, in deeper learning, we're talking about kids learning through inquiry. You get the idea. All the way on the other end, you have the why. We think of those as our indicators for deeper learning. If deeper learning is happening, what does it look like? What does it feel like for students? And so we've really isolated these key indicators: purpose, agency, community, and learning by doing. How do you get there? What happens? What does it take to do this? That's the work of teaching, the brilliant craft of the teacher. And so we have moves for deeper learning. The tricky thing about this model here is that it's all of it working together. It's an integrated model. It's never one thing before the other. It's all of it. And so that's important to think about. It's also tricky to think about. It's complex work. So this is the work that we're doing and still doing. It's not new work. We're continuing to go deeper into tools and thinking we started together last year. So our work in August, it truly was a hopeful launch. It wasn't prerequisite knowledge for anything that anyone's going to do this year. It was, we've been thinking and learning around these things. Let's put some heads together and think about how we can design for those outcomes on that far right side. So I got to work with 3 different groups of teachers. We organized by grade level band, which is really special. And the first thing that I really wanted to offer was a provocation. So when we learn about deeper learning, we engage as deeper learners. And so our provocation that I put forward is this model that we've seen before in here, the learning pit. And really, it's a model that describes what we call the zone of proximal development. It really describes the kind of challenge that's necessary in learning and the way every learner needs to experience some kind of stretch in order to grow. And we offered as a provocation because there's an entry point for every teacher. Every single teacher thinks about this all the time. They're constantly thinking about supporting their students in navigating the pit and ensuring everyone has access to learning that fits for them, that all kids have the right kind of stretch. That's really complex to do. So this became our provocation, and we engaged around it with a questioning protocol. And with each group, it was really incredible seeing the kinds of questions educators generated thinking about this and the kinds of thinking that it sparked. And the purpose of bringing this visual forward for us first in our work on that day was really to think deeply about what we mean when we say learning, really understanding learning and learners. And that was really central to our work. So from here, we brought this forward, and it's really why everyone turned up on that day. They had kids coming, soon, right? This is PD, and the kids are going to be coming a week later. They're thinking about this. How can I build a community of curious learners from day one? And so when you actually put the words together in blue there, it's really powerful. Community of learners communicates so much about what we actually want to happen for kids. It is built upon the foundation of safety and belonging, but it's really the big work that we're doing together as learners. And then we also centered curiosity in that. We went about it by breaking down 3 different understandings. One was thinking about learning. What does that mean? Then we really dove into, let's think about the community of learners. Why those 3 words? What's the intentionality in bringing learning forward when we pair it with community? And then we wanted to add another component of cultivating curiosity, because this is really what we want to happen for kids. And so we had a great morning together where we kind of dug into some different resources, some models, some ways of thinking and collaborating around these understandings, which led everyone to an opportunity to actually collaborate and design for, well, how am I going to do that? I have kids coming in a week, and from day one, what kinds of things am I going to do to make this happen? The really exciting thing about professional development and the kind of access and opportunity I have in classrooms is I get to then go out and see it. And so these are some actual pictures from the first day of school from some people who had attended professional development. This was a complete V-frame of a first day of school launch in, this looks like it is 5th grade at Santa Rita. I hope I just got that right. I think it is. But instead of really maybe a more narrow opportunity for these are the norms that I want us to engage in, it was a really powerful opportunity for co-construction that really challenged kids to think about the kind of learners we're trying to become. And so they engaged in some study of some different texts. They noticed some things, and then they had different ways of thinking about different angles of learning. And it was just really powerful to see something like this happening on the first day of school. And then we had another experience, very similar one. I think this is also one of them Santa Rita, one of them's Almond. But here we see that we're looking at cultivating curiosity using routines for questioning, thinking, and reflection on the first day of school. So actually, if there are really worthwhile routines and moves we can use to promote questioning and the kind of thinking that we want kids to engage in, start from day one. What does that look like? Tie it to building the community, tie it to understanding the classroom environment. And it really empowered kids to see the space in new ways. So it's exciting to engage with teachers and design around particular learning experiences, and then actually go out and see them try things that are completely different and brand new for them, and to see the way kids feel and are interacting in these kinds of learning experiences. And so we have a lot in store. Like, that's a very hopeful launch. We're very excited about the kinds of things we're seeing, and you're gonna talk about this a little.
So next, we have 2 professional development days coming up for the school year. We're going to build on the work we've done with deeper learning here this summer, to continue to just give teachers opportunities to build themselves, the experiences that they want to have with the kids that are in their classroom, and collaborate with each other to ensure that that's what we're doing for kids. We are committed to this work. We have teachers who are incredibly committed to the work, who believe so strongly that this is the pathway to equity for kids. And we're just so excited that you're talking about the energy that we're seeing in schools. We share it. It's what is in the air right now, and we're thrilled about it. So we're happy to answer any questions you have about professional development.
Great, that was awesome. Would anyone like to provide public comment on this item? Do we have, please submit a speaker card, no speakers, correct? Okay, I'm closing public comment. Are there any clarifying questions from board members? No? All right. Oh, now I can take public comment, but seeing none, I'm closing it. Would any board members like to provide further comment on this agenda item?
Just a question. What are other districts doing in this, in the area? I don't,
In our area,
yeah. Are any of them doing something similar?
we have neighboring school districts who are also working on developing a portrait of a learner like we have, and aligning instruction so it matches the idea of developing learners, not just giving kids academic success, but helping them develop as full people. That's something that a lot of people are working on, but I will say, I think we're doing it very well. We've seen what people are doing. We've gone to conferences, and there's a lot of great work happening. And one of the things that we've done is pulled from the very best resources out there to really construct something that fits our context. And we know our people so well, and where we're headed. So we feel really good about where we're headed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right,
I'm wondering if you want, because I was able to attend the teacher orientation a little bit over the 2 days, and what is striking a little bit related to your conversation, Vladimir, is we did have a good number of veteran teachers come to us from other places. And I think in day 1 and 2, they notice that something's different here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because we came to the lunch, the teachers
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
talked to.
Yeah.
That's what they're
Did
saying,
you
right?
take your lunch?
They said, I mean, the couple that we talked to, they said that, and then, I mean. I don't know what's different about this year, but I think everybody's more prepared or something, I don't know, but it's different, so kudos.
I mean, I think people hear about LASD, right, being different, but when you're actually here and experiencing it, I think it's a whole other thing, and I think that the stuff like this that we do is incredible. And I would really love to hear from teachers as they go through this process, like the impact on them, because the impact on them is the impact on our students, right?
It's a great idea for another day.
At the end of the year.
I love it when you do PDO.
Well, yeah,
I
I
really
was
do.
gonna say,
Yeah.
like, we hear from students all year, which is awesome, and I presume we will hear from them again, but this new program, it'd be good to hear from them at the end of the.
Yeah. And you both have such passion for.
Oh, yeah.
for different things. It's awesome. It shows. Thank you so much for all of this.
Yeah.
Board policy updates.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna make a comment to that effect, but thank you for snoring. If anyone would like to provide public comment on this agenda item, please submit a speaker card. And I see that we have one. So, okay. Says introduction by Superintendent McGonigal. Are you going to?
To introduce the item first,
Yeah, sorry.
yes, so tonight you have before you 5 new and or updated board policies. Or board bylaws in the last one in particular, and that if you have any questions, reach out and it'll come to you September 8th for.
Thank you. Any clarifying questions? No? We have one request for public comment, Pat Brodkey. Eric, let's give Pat 3 minutes.
Won't take that one. My comments are about the updated IEP procedure, and these comments aren't actually about an area of change, but an area where I recommend we change. So last week I met with a mom that was deeply distraught about what happened at her child's IEP meeting in the spring. She felt intimidated in the meeting and had absolutely zero understanding of her parental rights, and believed she had no option other than signing the plan on the spot. So, here's what I recommend we do, is there's a legally required notice of parental rights. And it's lengthy, it's difficult to read, especially if you don't have a degree in law. And so what I recommend is that we develop a supplement that is written in simple, everyday language so that it can be accessible to many parents, and that it be given to parents in advance of the meeting. That it be, of course, bilingual, and that ideally someone should contact the parent before the meeting, answer their questions, try to bring down the anxiety level, and give the document again at the beginning of the meeting. So I shared with Dr. Bosco a draft I prepared after, looking at the policy. I do not have a law degree. And I hope I'm not misrepresenting you when I say you think it's an idea worth pursuing. Is that your comment? Okay. And so, to my opening comments, this is an example of a simple step, very simple, we can take to help us earn the trust of our Latino families, and in fact, all families, and help them understand that they do have a voice in their children's education. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question. Was this parent's issue with the process or the content of the IEP? Or both?
Or the people.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Alrighty. Would any board members like to provide any further comment on this agenda item? Since it's a first read, it's discussion only, so no action. Seeing none, I'm gonna move us along to board and administration comments. Carrie? Oh, okay. Eric?
I just want to acknowledge, Elizabeth was here with, Chris Battaglia. He's with Sodexo. So earlier tonight, the board approved a contract with Sodexo. They're a food services consultant. Many districts use Sodexo for their services. So he was here on consent, but they scurried out. But you'll hear more about Sodexo. They're very good, working with districts, to make sure we're in compliance, following all the nutrition guidelines. And then also want to acknowledge again, all the great work by our CEC staff. And then Elizabeth and Lonnie and I were working over the weekend, so we're excited to bring you the unaudited actuals the next meeting. So we have our staff closing the books. We should be ready to go by the September 8th meeting. So it's been a very busy summer, but yeah, we're excited to bring the unaudited actuals to you at Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Andrew? No. Stella?
I was able to attend the staff welcome back, and I was very inspired by Sandra's speech at the event, and I also felt the energy in the room, and teachers were cheering, which is great.
Some with pom-pom.
Yeah.
We don't have their pom-poms.
Great.
I said it twice, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? The only thing I was gonna mention is that I attended the KCI, Crown Center for Innovation, their 25th anniversary celebration. I only mentioned that because we mentioned Gate Krause and Challenge Team, and they have free resources for teachers up there at Foothill College. Wonderful organization. And I wasn't sure if I should mention this or not because it's indirectly related to students, right? But on Saturday, I did attend a training by the Victory Institute, which trains, encourages, builds the pipeline for LGBTQ plus individuals to run for public office. And I mention it because school board, right? And I mention it because of communication matters. And that's it for me. Thank you. I'm gonna adjourn us.